So we had over 350 applications and platforms that we had to support through over 20 languages around the world. We had to identify our customers, who our customers were, and we had a unique mix of hotel staff, corporate staff, as well as some of our hotel guests and some of the platforms that we had to deliver. And I want to tell you a little bit about that story and the journey we went through. I'm listening to a lot of the presentations, and we're hearing at a very high level about how to go about doing this. And I have to tell you, Tom in his presentation was a checkoff sheet for us and what we went through. Some of the other items that we've been mentioned before, the low-hanging fruit, those are checkoff sheets. Those are the experiences we went through. We didn't sit through a presentation with Tom and know to go down that path. It has evolved this way. We didn't sit with presentations with others. This is what's going to happen to you as you go through these presentations, so I'm glad to see you here and you're going to go through this experience. And I want to tell you a little bit about our experience, give you a snapshot. I only brought 2 slides for you. And I think that pictures are worth 1,000 words, and the first picture I show you are probably 1,000 curse words as we went through the customer experience. This here looks like an eye chart, but this is our customer experience. And we identified that we knew that we would have to map out this customer experience in order to understand what our customers were going through, what their needs were, how to deploy this technology. And this wasn't just, we're going to put Amelia out there and people are going to chat into her or they're going to call into her. We had to know what channels that we had to deploy to. We had to know the role that she was going to play. We also had to understand culturally within our organization, we are a hospitality industry. How is it going to be received if we were going to be turning over some of the human activities to an automated platform? And how would that relationship evolve between people who are in the hospitality industry, who have grown up in it? I have people on my team that have been with me, been in the organization for 20, 25 years. How would they embrace that technology? You will face these questions. People in your organization, if they are not satisfied with those answers, I'm betting that they will resist this technology. They will see this as a threat to their job. And so we had to go through there and identify what this experience was, what were all the technology platforms that we were involved with, the ticketing systems, what are the different organizations, and we did want to put this in an L0, L1, L2, L3, L4 format so you can see where this fits in and how the work flows through the organization and how the technology is going to impact that. As you can see, we had lines of communication. That's what we have coined the spaghetti diagram. All the spaghetti are the various lines of communication. The red spaghetti is inappropriate lines of communication, where people were contacting L3 engineers for password resets, where we had guests who were calling into our engineers for Wi-Fi assistance. And they were getting directly by emails, by phone numbers. There were shadow IT setups, where if they couldn't get their answers at that front line, at that first point of contact, they would find other routes. And once they found those other routes, they never lose those routes. They hold on to them forever, and they pass them around to each other. And those workarounds become greater and greater. And then all of a sudden, a password reset that should cost you $1 to execute on as a work unit, it's now costing you $45. $73 to do a password reset. And that's what takes place when you're frontline, when you don't have what I think is the key strength out of Amelia. Capacity to execute time and again the same activities over and over again. When I came on board, I was told that I had to map this out and that I had to solve the issue of trying to address all of this help. But I was given one key caveat. I had to expand my capacity and my capability, but I wasn't allowed to expand. Great, Scott, come and do a great job, come up with a miracle, add more capacity. You can't add more people, you can't add this or that. So we had to start thinking creatively. And of course, we have to turn to automation. How do we execute on that? And in the last couple of years, automation, especially that engagement with individuals, becomes much more advanced. The natural language capability starts to make a much more comfortable conversation to have for our systems to be able to understand how someone describes their issue. Number one job of a service desk is basic triage. What's your problem? How can I help you today? Oh, you need to do a password reset? Yeah, I'm locked out of my account. That's a password reset. Yeah, I can't access this application. That's a password reset. Put that in over 20 different languages. That's a challenge. for a very basic IT functionality. How do we solve that? We have to have a system that can interpret various meanings of the same activity and do that interpretation in multiple languages. And then execute on that activity because it has access to the systems in order to unlock that password, to give that access back, and do the other thing that we do on a day in and a day out basis. Identify each other. You walk into the office, you know everybody around you. You can verify them. That's an extra challenge with technology. How do we verify that the person on the other side that we can't see, maybe, is that person who they say they are, and that we can give them a password? Or we can do other activities. So we know that we have to answer 3 things that are part of the customer experience. We have to be accessible. We have to be able to solve their issue as quickly as possible. If you're only able to solve your client's issues, your customer's issues, 5 out of 10 times, 6 out of 10 times, that's a poor experience. And affability. No one wants to call up and talk to someone who is very unpleasant for no other reason than they're having a bad day. That's not a good experience. Hang up, call somebody else. All of a sudden, we start getting that quite a bit. So it's affability. How do you build affability into technology? That becomes a challenge. So we went about and said, automation, AI, is probably the way to go. But how do we fit it into this platform? First, we have to reorganize ourselves. We have to get buy-in from our stakeholders, go and talk to them, and we have to identify low-hanging fruit. Number one reason anybody calls into our IT organization, and every IT organization I've ever worked in, and everybody that I've talked to has said that this is also similar to them, and I'm probably going to get a lot of nodding heads on this one, are FAQs, knowledge. People call in, how do I do this? I have over 350 applications. How do I do this in this application? How do I do this in this application? It's knowledge transfer. That's the number one demand on IT services in our organization. And that's something that stays dynamic quite often, but you have to consistently deliver it. So how do you build that knowledge into the AI platform? Can you just hand a manual, ingest it as a PDF, and then all of a sudden it's populated with all this knowledge about how to work this application and how this application works in your real world environment? It doesn't work that way. That was the other challenge that we discovered out of Amelia that we had to address, was how do we train her? That is something that I would say as you progress down this journey that you will want to understand is how do you train this platform? And if you think that it takes one person to train this platform, imagine one person trying to train a platform for 350 different applications on how to use it, what happens when it breaks, and who to talk to if it can't solve that issue. One person can't do that. That becomes one of the other checkoffs that we had to do, was develop the in-house expertise and develop an organization around transferring knowledge, the shift to the left, the classic strategy of moving solutions from the L3 to as close to the customer as possible. Whether it's knowledge, whether it's configuration management, whether it's assessing a defect and getting that resolved, how do you shift that as close as possible? For us, the AI platform, we embedded it into our case management platform. We use ServiceNow. We also have Salesforce as another one. And so we had to embed Amelia into that platform for the chat sessions and for that conversation. And that embedding of her allows her to do a couple of things that our customers call in constantly about. She's getting access to knowledge, our knowledge base. We're able to convey that information out to the end user. She's also able to identify the profiles of the users that are calling in to do verification if they are who they say they are. Two very important pieces of those jobs right there. She's always available. We've never had her wait to answer somebody. We're able to get rid of some old metrics, ASAs. That's a wonderful metric to get away from. We're always available. The ability to scale up in that situation. Our customers call us when they need us, and often when they need us is when we're having severe outages. And when those outages take place, everybody's calling us. And if you have a staff of 50 or 100 trying to serve a population that is in the thousands for an application, they're going to be overwhelmed. And the best way to start damaging the relationship between your organization and your customer is to not be available, to not provide answers for them, or to at least pick up that call, answer that ticket, be there for that email, answer that text, be there available in that service portal, respond and say, I understand. We're having an issue. We've got you. Here's a case number. We're working on it. By the way, this is what the issue is. We have an estimated time of about this. We're doing the best we can right now. We'll get right back to you. We're going to follow up with you. And to be able to do that follow-up, that piece, to track that issue and then respond back to them. We've got your issue. You're next in line. We'll be 5 minutes. We're going to be on the phone with you. So now we step into our next piece, which is our future state, or where we're in the middle of it right now. And this is how we saw, almost, this is the transformation. We are evolving. This is not a revolution for us, but we are evolving because we took that step and we said we're going to take it one bite at a time. We went through and we identified what was our number one demand on our services, FAQs. What are the top 10 applications that require knowledge that people are calling in about? Okay, and those, let's start picking those off at the top. That's the ones that we start populating the knowledge. We quickly found out we did not have enough staff to come up with all the different iterations of how someone would ask us a question about that knowledge. But we believed that we had a group that would be able to do that for us, a large-sized group. This became the transformation of the jobs within our organization. From the beginning of this, our intent was to never eliminate a job because of this technology. Okay? But we knew that we had to be able to expand the trading capability, and we took a look at our service desk, our global service desk. For our service desk, it's based in Manila. We took those individuals and we said, how can we get the knowledge out of you that you have that you build on a day-to-day basis by interacting with your end users, that you understand how they're using these applications in their day-to-day lives? How can we get this into the conversation? How can we get this built into the AI platform? And we came up with what we thought was a rather unique way. We have one person who acts like Amelia in the chat session, who has a conversation with another agent at that location, and they have sessions back and forth, and they try to break each other. And in that, Amelia documents that conversation. She builds processes. She maps that solution as it goes through identifying the steps that the agents went through to do the triage, to understand it. What were the various solutions? And she builds in those processes. And this becomes a day in and day out. And now we have set up a program for each agent that develops a new process. We reward them. Cash reward. We have people who formerly did not want to embrace this technology, who thought it was going to replace their jobs, who are spending extra hours to come up with new processes to fill into Amelia to get those approved. And now we're on this iterative approach that is continuously building and building these processes and providing more capability. And as we become more capable, our adoption rates are starting to increase. This becomes our next challenge. We are emerging out of our pilot program, and what we found out is we started off slow. We only wanted to do 1 or 2 bits of the fruit punch of activities that we knew that we could replace. And what we realized was it was so specialized that people knew they would go to that for just that little thing, but it wasn't, I want to go there for everything. Amelia is going to become ambient technology, that she resides in the background, that she bridges the gap between technology that is difficult to navigate and those who do not spend a lot of time learning to navigate that technology. In our business, in the hospitality business, we're not a technology primary business. In hospitality, it is about rooms. It is about Wi-Fi. It is about hot water for us. And the people that are serving our guests, they don't come into this business to learn an AI platform. They don't come into this business to learn a technology tool. They don't come into this business to learn these various applications. They come in here to run their hotels. Our owners want to run their hotels, so they want to spend less time working in the technology, the backbone of their business, and more time serving their guests. And so we have to bridge that gap between what they know, which is their hotel business, and the technology that helps them run their business. And this is where AI is going to fill that gap. That's human assistance. We're not replacing hotel owners here. We're not replacing service desk people. They are training the AI platform. They are going to hone it. And time again, it evolves the business. So I hear about jobs being replaced. Yes, some jobs are going to be replaced. Only one job in the United States has ever been replaced completely as an occupation by automation, and that's the elevator operator. So I don't anticipate by this evolution that in our business that we will eliminate a job. We have transformed jobs, and our job force around the AI is expanding, but we are starting to focus the people on what they do well in innovation and coming up with new ideas and taking the mundane task out of their hands so they can focus on what they really get paid for. We are transforming into knowledge workers from top to bottom of our organizations. And those people that are at the entry level, they are educated. We're more educated than we've ever been. And so those people don't want to come in to do mundane, rote tasks. They want to do creative things, and we need to engage them faster to do that. So that's our transformation. This is the direction that we're going. I'm interested in hearing your stories as you go through this. I've only been able to go through this one time, and most people will only go through this process one time, but these are lessons learned. And I want to hear back from you. So please reach out to me, connect to me, let me know about your stories. I want to hear what you go through, and I'll be glad to pass along exactly what we've gone through. But I say that all the speakers here, they have brought truths to this process, and in my experience, we have hit every one of those. And I think it's been a great experience listening to what they have to say. So thank you very much.
Great job. Thank you very much. One of the things that struck me that you were saying was talking about, this is the hospitality industry, it's about hot water, it's about Wi-Fi, it's about whether the TV's working, what's available for room service. How far do you think you are from someone picking up the phone in their hotel room, dialing 9 or dialing 0, and getting Amelia on the other end of it?
There are no Ritz-Carlton people here, are there? Don't want to give away any secrets.
This is strictly, obviously.
Amelia is going to become ambient technology. It will be there. And I think that you made a statement there that is a hole in the way that we're thinking, which is you pick up the phone. That will not happen in the not-too-distant future. You will not pick up a phone. Wherever you're at, you say something, and you will be engaged, whether it's in your car, your iPhone, whether you're getting off the plane at the airport, and we recognize by your GPS that you've just stepped off the airplane, and we're going to deliver the car to pick you up, bring you in your hotel. We do photo recognition, and as soon as that photo clicks, you're checked into your hotel, your room's assigned, and we're handing you a welcome package to our hotel, and you just walk right up to your hotel room. If you haven't been through that experience, and I've been through that a couple of times where I've walked into the hotel, and 3 people met me at the door, and they just kept on walking me up to my room. It's a great experience, trust me. Because there's nothing like sitting in line waiting. And that's what AI and the integration of the different channels by which we can communicate, in which AI becomes an ambient technology that is going to make our lives better and get us focused on the things that we do well. AI does a couple things well. Capacity, the ability to retain information, and to execute on the task again and again and again. We as people, we are the innovators, and we need to dedicate more of our time to that.
Scott, grateful to you. Thank you very much indeed. It was a great presentation. Thanks so much.